Hello everyone, welcome back again to the Education Diary, day number one for the Tableau or for the data science, right? So today we are going to be discussing about Tableau, which is one of a very great software in the field of data science. So the reason actually I'm having up my webinar today early is something really important for me. So let me actually close some of my tabs so that you can actually understand pretty easily that what we need to do. All right, so here as you can see that we are going to be having up our Tableau website. So you can simply just write Tableau, right? So suppose if I write Tableau download for Mac or for whatever, so basically you are going to be having up your website, and then you can visit based on your operating system. You can actually download, right? So it's going to be really easy. As usual, I am downloading right now Tableau in front of you, so I don't need to download again. But as usual, if you want to go with the Windows operating system, so you can actually go and can download, right? So in the meantime, you can see that the Tableau is basically of around 700 MB, so it's almost 400 MB. So right now I'm actually downloading in front of you so that I can show you that how we can actually go and can install Tableau. Now if you do see that Tableau comes with a trial version, so basically it's going to be around 30 days of trial version, or maybe 10 or 15 days trial version, I'm not sure. But once your trial version is going to over, so you need a license key or you need to purchase the software. All right, so that is one of a drawback of the Tableau, right? So of course we are having tons and tons of different data that can be supervised data or supervised learning, unsupervised, or kind of like machine learning. Of course we do have some data which is structured data, unstructured data, right? So the structured data is something which is having columns and everything is perfect, which is in the categorized manner. But if you come into the unstructured data, so which is going to be having raw data, which is not going to make any information, it is not going to have any meaning of the data. While structured data is basically having a meaning of the data, the rows and columns are really good, everything is really fine, and you can actually go and can start using up your resources that can be creating a machine learning algorithm based on this structured data, right? Because it's already sorted. So everything is sorted, having a good category, having names, columns, that IDs, phone numbers, or countries, or whatever the data is all about. So the data is actually structured, so which basically means that yes, the data is really fine and it can be go, or it can be that move forward with the machine learning, we can say, processes. But again, in the unstructured data, we do use unstructured data for making the machine learn. But again, unstructured data is not certainly being used by the industry experts. We basically analyze the data, unstructured data, then we analyze the data, we make this unstructured data into a structured data so that it can make a meaning, and then only it is basically being processed to the next level, which is again that going forward with the processing of these algorithms or whatever, right? So I do think so that it's really fine. You basically need a license key in order to that work with the Tableau desktop. I do have a license key, but again I cannot share this license key because this is the part of the university, of course, so I'm not having permission to share up this license key with so many people. So this is only for the students. By the way, you can ask your university if they can issue you a license key, or you can ask your professors, right? So that is something which is really important to understand. So I'm just waiting for my this software to get installed. Now it's almost 4 minutes left on. In the meantime, I wanted to show you that we are having a Kaggle website, which is basically used for analyzing the data, which is having data sets or models, right? So if I go into the data sets, you are going to be having different kind of data sets based on we can say movie recommendations, or based on stock market data, or based on that a lot of data, weather data, building prices data, education data, lots and lots of data. So here if I'm going to select only for the computer science data, so you can see the social of data set are basically in the form of CSV or XML file. So that is actually a form of text data, right? Once again, if you do remember, we basically went to the RoboFlow, right? So RoboFlow was kind of like a website which offers us the data set in the form of image. But if you want the data set in the form of text or in the form of CSV, then personally you can go with the Kaggle website. Now again you are going to be having multiple things. So if I just delete this filter, and if I'm going to have the iris, now this is one of a very, we can say, famous data set, right? So if I just write iris CSV or something like that, so I might be we are not going to very deep or advanced level. But again, the thing which I want to tell you is that data is something. Now this is a structured data having proper rows, proper IDs. You know that this data set is actually based on the flowers, right, which is having sepals and petals, or how many birds are there, or how many leaves are there, something like that. So you can see that this data set is actually in the form of structured data. That means this data is not unstructured. This is basically meaning this data set is actually creating a meaning. All right. So you can see that this data set is having different form of columns, that is ID, sepal length in centimeter, sepal width in centimeter, petal length in centimeter, petal width in centimeter, right? So it do has an ID, and after that the that the measurements of that particular category. Now this data set is only of 1 KB, so it's not very huge, but in the field of data science or the big data, you might be having loads and loads of data which can exceed to 1 GB, 2 GB, or 3 GB, or even more, right? So but today we are just having an introduction, so I'm not going into very deep or going to tell you on downloading, of course, a 2 GB file just to show you. But today I'm just going to show you that what is Tableau and how you can actually kind of like an introduction to Tableau which you can understand, right? So I'm just waiting for my software to download. Now again, depends on the speed of the server. So till then, let's download this particular Kaggle file. And if I'm going to select this one, let's copy up this to desktop, and here we are. So we are going to be having our iris.csv file in our desktop. Right now, again, if you remember, then we can personally open up the CSV file into an Excel file. Now this you can see is going to be that in the form of Excel. So Tableau is something in the form of Excel only. Like suppose if I just that select something, and I'm just going into where I can go. So I can go into the insert, and I can basically insert this kind of 2D line, right? So here you can see it is not having any form of result. Why? Because I have selected something which is in the form of alphabets. So suppose if I just take two things, sepal length and sepal width. I just wanted to select something. I'm not selecting the whole, so I can basically go into the insert, and I can select the 2D graph, and here is going to be a visualized manner of this particular thing. So in actually here you can see that this is written series 1, and the orange color is basically the series 2, right? So this is basically telling you or giving you an idea about the different parameters in the form of centimeters that can be based on the sepal length as well as the sepal width, right? So this is just giving you an idea in the form of visualization manner. Now again, this same idea is being implemented in the form of Tableau, right? So the Tableau is something which again gives you the things in the form of visualized manner. You can create some union intersections, or some kind of like you can create different sets into these data set. You can link one of the column with the other column, and vice versa, right? So Tableau is again is a kind of like a software which is used in visualizing up your data in the form of something which basically creates some meaning, right? So Tableau itself has some many great tools which it offers, like a demographic view, geographical view. So suppose if there is a country, right? So we are having some movies based on some country, like in South Korea, that so many people have watched blah 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 movies in 2024. In India, so these kind of people were this kind of videos in 2024. So we have a data set. Now based on the geography, it is going to represent in the form of visual manner, which the MS Excel doesn't provide, right? So if I want to see this data in the form of geography, or the based on the geology, it is not going to be the option into the MS Excel. But if you're using Tableau, so you are going to be having that as well. Now once again, it's just a preview. I just wanted to show you that yes, MS Excel do have some really great stuffs. If you want to go, you can study more, you can just create some formulas. That MS Excel itself is kind of like very important to learn if you're coming from a computer science background, so that you can understand or you can visualize the data if you don't know Tableau or something like that. All right, so that is something. So of course the Tableau is going to take some time, so in the meantime, let's wait for it to get completed, and after that we can continue. Now in the meantime, let's go and check for more Tableau options, right? Uh, so if I go basically on the Tableau, just to make a description of you guys, so you can see that Tableau software is an American interactive data visualization software company focused on business intelligence. It was founded in 2003 in Mountain View, California, and is currently headquartered in Seattle, Washington, blah blah blah. So you can see that this kind of software is only for the visualization software company, right? And if I go into the images section, so you can see that these are some of the preloaded we can say dashboards inside Tableau. Now once actually you become professional in using Tableau, it's having tons and tons of use cases, and of course it's much more versatile by and rather than using MS Excel. So if you're working in a company, if you're working in an organization, then Tableau is something, a software which is being used by the industry experts to give presentations. So they basically don't give presentations on MS PowerPoint, they basically do presentations on the Tableau, right? So as usual, I told you that what we are learning inside the universities or school is something different what is basically being required by the industry. So if you're learning MS Excel, so that is not going to be used in the job market. If you are learning MS PowerPoint, again, it's not going to be used in the job market. So the job market requires something more advanced things, having versatility in that. So as we do have discussed 2 or 3 weeks back when we were doing a webinar on cloud platform, that in cloud platform you are not going to be signing up on the Amazon website, you are going to create a virtualization operating system. No, so in actually you're going to be working on programming. You are going to connect your local we can say machine or local we can say IDE to the Amazon we can say web server by using the coding or different kind of sockets or layers. So that is something which is really important. So what the job market requires is something different what is being taught inside of the universities or in school. But yeah, again, having up the knowledge of MS Excel gives you a power so that you can understand that how basically the visualization works and how basically you can go proceed forward in understanding these kind of different softwares. All right, so that is something you can see that this is the view of the Tableau software, right? So you can see, again, you can see here that it is basically what I can say is giving us kind of like what a geographical view here. So you can see that state-wise sales, that means there is a data set which is having sales based on the America or based on a different country and having a different states. So you can have a demographic view of those particular states kind of like this. But in MS Excel you're going to be having graphs, bar graphs, line charts, but not like this, right? So that is something which is really important to understand. So I hope so that my Tableau software should be installed, but again it's taking since a very long time. So if I cancel and if I restart, so let's see. All right, so now it's fast. Now personally I was having this kind of software, I just that deleted so that I can show you that how you can actually install, reinstall again, and what is the processes or steps you have to follow, and based on that you can actually have up your software. Now this software is kind of like very heavy software. If you're going to executing, even if I'm going to execute this software in my Mac, it is going to take some time to load this kind of software. So make sure you have a good RAM of computer. If you're not having, so it's going to be really laggy, your laptop is going to be really laggy, right? So make sure to have up some space inside your computer. By the way, we are also going to be having up our big data course which is being released by the Education Diary. So if any one of you is willing to get certification in big data or data science, they can actually contact the Education Diary, or they can send an email asking for about the courses. So you can actually get something like we can say brochure or contents which are available, and you can actually start learning and you can get certification as well, like from the data science inside the Education Diary. right? So we are going to be releasing like kind of like a lot of courses in cybersecurity, ethical hacking, data science, uh, advanced level, right? So even though if you are coming from a very beginner level, so that's totally fine. The topics are going to be covered from the very starting. So today, as you can see, that we are starting the data science from the Tableau software, which is the very introductory. Again, this is not the starting of the data science. You have to understand some different terms, that you are having some different definitions. But if you are going to forward with the Tableau software, individually, if you are proceeding with the Tableau software, so you can understand that today we are having an introductory, we can say, discussion onto this Tableau software, right? So yeah, we are having tons and tons of courses which are starting from the very beginner level to the advanced level. So you can actually enroll for that and you can get certification in that. And I hope so that the software is actually installed. So once actually it's installed, so we are going to proceed forward in logging up this software and check out what or how the UI actually looks like of this software. So all right, let's install the software. Now, as you can see, it is going to take some time because this is a heavy. By the way, so personally, this is my suggestion that whenever you proceed forward with the softwares like this, it's important to understand that how these things actually work, right? So you can see that these are some of the PDF which are available. So you can see that this is the Tableau one, right? And basically, you can go and study these different kind of PDF files which are being written by different people who do use or who have used Tableau in the past, right? So this gives you kind of like a confidence that you basically understand. Now here you can see it is written in French, so you can actually go and you can change up the language from here, right? So search for English results only, and here you are going to be having PDF files. Now this one, now you can see that this is basically this link is host on the Amazon AWS, right? So yeah, you can actually go and host any of your document or any of your website on Amazon AWS. Now you can see that there are so many tons of different services which Tableau offers, which can be in the stock market analysis. It can be for the price of the home, right? So yeah, it has multiple use cases. So I personally recommend to check for multiple articles which Tableau do offers, so that you can have a better understanding in using these kind of softwares. All right, so I hope so that it's going to be installing soon. Let's wait. Now, if you see that Tableau is basically being installed, right? So Tableau has already been installed, but still, like, it do take some time for the installer. In the meantime, if I click on the Tableau, so it should open if I'm not wrong, because this is something which is not necessary to wait on. The Tableau software should open. Now, as you can see, even the software is so huge that it's taking a lot of time in opening, even in the Mac operating system, right? so you can understand that how huge this software is. So if I do force quit, let's try to reopen. All right, so finally we have up our Tableau software running. Now as you can see that start trial now activate with product key or activate by signing to a server. So if I click on start trial now, so it's going to be asking for email, right? But I don't have an email actually. Means I have an email but I have already used the trial version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be signing with up my license key. Now in the meantime I'm going to hide up my screen so that I can actually go and proceed with the license key, right? So this is the first view. Now as soon as the software is going to get open, so you can see that uh, it's not going to be starting because you must register to continue. So I can basically go and click on register. Sorry, I have to click on the activate, not on the register. Unfortunately, I've clicked on the restart the application. So basically I had to click on activate, not register. All right, so what I can do is I can click on activate as soon as the message comes. And if I click on activate, so activate with the product key, activate by signing into a server. So again, I do have a product key. So let me just, so here you should be having, we can say 16-digit product key, right? So let me actually make my screen disable so that I can write the product key here. All right, so I hope so it's done. And now if I return back, so you can see that the product has been successfully activated. And if I click on continue, so I can basically start using up my Tableau, right? So now this is going to be the very first UI interface in the field of Tableau. Now once actually you do have a software, you can actually go and proceed in importing your iris.csv file. Now you are having Microsoft Excel, you are having text file, JSON file, PDF file, and different file formats, which you can actually, that include inside of your this Tableau. But what the best option is, open a workbook. So if I click on open a workbook and allow, and I'm going to be having iris.csv file. So once actually this is going to be loaded, so here we are having up our iris.csv file. All right, now again you can see that this is having a preview here. You can see that these are different columns of the iris.csv file. And what I can do is basically I can go into the sheet 1, which is going to be loading up all different kind of columns of my iris.csv file, right? So this is the sheet 1. Now here what I can do is, now these are different columns. For right now I'm just taking a petal length, which is going to be inside the columns, and petal width, which is going to be inside rows. And here you can see that this is being displayed, which is the we can say average point, right? So just this is basically the average point of both of the columns, right? Now again, I know that you might not be able to understand. What we can do is we can basically draw back, we can create ID as a columns, and we can go with petal length centimeter inside the rows. So here as you can see that these are different IDs, and these are different of the petal length of that particular ID, right? Now again, I can basically that include more and more columns, and I can create a good visualization. So these are actually the ID names, which is the ID 12 having the petal length centimeter, which is 1.6. But I want with each ID I should know that what ID is having what kind of length, and in the form of ascending order from small to big. So basically I can go here, I can basically click here, and this is going to create an ascending format of every ID. You can see it's starting from small, which is ID number 23 having petal length 1. And if I go at the very last, so if I close this, so this is the ID number 119 having 6.9 centimeter as the highest we can say range of the length, right? So we can actually play with multiple options here, right? So suppose if I want to have another comparison, which is the sepal petal length, so we can take width as well. So if I go here, so you can see that now again there is another graph. So now basically you can see this was basically for the petal length as well as the petal width. So what I can do is I can again select this one, which is the petal length, and I can create this. All right, so basically I can create a range. So here, as you can see, that this is the petal width. Now I have selected this petal width, and I'm going to, so this is basically only for rotations. All right, so what I can do is I can simply select this kind of section, and here, as you can see, that I'm going to be having up my ID, which is going to be 28, and the petal length and the petal width is going to be mentioned into my same ID. All right, but in the meantime, if you want, you can again change up and play with different options, which is ascending order or descending order, right? You can change up the colors as well if you want. So suppose if I crop up this here, so it's going to be changing up this color, right? If I do this into this one, so it's going to be changing its color as well. So you can actually play with these different kind of options. So here, as you can see, it is having automatic and create a line bar, and it is going to creating a line bar. Now this was petal length, petal width. If I'm going to do here, so it's not going to be working here. So you can see that this is the variation. Now again, you can combine these different form of graphs. So I can basically go with the line, I can basically go with the bar. We do have, so we can go with the area, right? We can go with the map. I don't think so map is going to be working because this data set is not based on any kind of city, right? I can go with the pie structure. It's not going to be working. So circles, nope. So in actually you can see that you can actually select different form of visualization methods, which can be bar, which can be line graph, pie chart, right? And in the show me section, you are having different form of we can say what variations. So here, as you can see, that we are having this variation, this different kind of variation. So these are ID names starting from 1 to 119, which is the highest one, which is of course 136, 145 and so on, but the highest length is the 6.9 of the ID 119, right? So you can actually play with these different kind of data sets, right? And you can basically create your own dashboard in this one as well. All right, so this is the one. You can see that this is the kind of like visualized manner, and as soon as you take up your mouse pointer on each of this, you are going to be having the information of that particular ID, right? So yeah, you do have some different form of options in this, but as usually you have to proceed forward with the more advanced things when you are using Tableau, because Tableau itself is having so many different options to work on, right? You can actually change up the data. So if I click here, so you are going to be having some filter options, you are going to be having some attributes which you can change. You can change to discrete graph, not to a continuous graph, right? So you are having a lot of things in this. All right, so that's it for today for the introduction to the Tableau, for the visualization of different kind of data set. We are going to meet tomorrow based on the this only, or maybe on Monday, hopefully. Till then, everyone, if you do have any questions, so make sure to send an email to the education diary, and if you do have any problems, so you can actually comment down and we can basically give the answer for that as well.